Thank you, and we are moving on now, and I have the pleasure to invite Dr. Philippe Dweck to deliver his lecture on advances in imaging in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here in Israel. I would like to thank the Israeli Heart Society and Aficardio for the invitation. And I would like to say hello to some friends, Gadi Keren and from Tel Aviv. It's really a pleasure to be here with you. So I was asked to talk about advances in imaging in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and mainly I would focus my talk on MRI and MDCT. So after an introduction, I will try to review the different phenotype characterization using MR and CT, the use of MR and CT in genotype positive and phenotype negative. I will also add some additional consideration and review risk stratification and significance and clinical implication of left gadolinium enhancements and the role of MR in differential diagnosis of left ventricular hypertrophy. So although radiography is the simplest imaging technique to use for screening, cardiac MR and MDCT are less operator dependent, not subject to acoustic window limitations. Cine-MR imaging with steady-state free precession pulse sequence can offer the advantages of multiplanar imaging, complete coverage of the entire myocardium without obliquity, and excellent soft tissue contrast between myocardial border and blood pool. Cardiac MR imaging can allow better characterization of pattern and distribution of left ventricular hypertrophy. In addition, the status of myocardial blood flow can be assessed by using adenosine stress cardiac MR imaging, and delay-enhanced MR imaging technique can provide unique information for tissue characterization, specifically for the identification of myocardial fibrosis or scarring. In comparison, the spatial resolution of MDCT is higher, less than 0.6 millimeters, which enabled high-quality multiplanar three-dimensional reformat image and high-quality, non-invasive coronary angiography. Cardiac MR and MDCT of the heart allow precise description of different phenotype of CMH. This is an example of a 30-year-old man with recent episode of malaise, no personal history, a familial history of cardiac arrest, related to HCM, and EKG abnormalities such as Q wave in the inferior leads and deep S wave in the right precordial leads. So here you can see a cine image, if it works, yes. The confluence of the basal anterior septum with the contiguous anterior free wall is the most common form of the disease, as you can see. It's accounting for an estimate of 60 to 70% of the case who presented with chest tightness. This is short axis view, and steady state free precession cine-MR shows the asymmetric septal wall and the hypertrophy of the anteroseptal wall with the maximal thickness measured at 16 millimeters at end diastoles. We had EFLV was 68%, and end-systolic volume was reduced. There was an increase of mass of 101 gram per square meter. Here you have the LVOTU, where you see the SAM obstruction, and the hyposinol is linked to acceleration of blood flow. So cinecardiac MR imaging demonstrates the systolic anterior motion of the mitral leaflet and the high velocity jet depicted at an area of high signal intensity or signal vol within the LVOT. So this is another case with sequential three-chamber steady state free precession, CineMR image, if it runs. Sorry, it doesn't run.
So please use the mouse.
Okay.
Try and with the mouse go on the picture.
Okay. So I use a mouse. I try to use a mouse. Right, so it's okay. I was. Yeah. But this case was. No, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. Can you move on or back? Yeah. So this is a case with hypertrophy, and this is another case with mitral clip. And what I wanted to. No, it's okay. What I was willing to show you is that we can see actually before and after treatment. This was a mitral clip placement that showed that there was a relief of the thumb and there was no obstruction after treatment. We'll try to move on if it's possible. Yeah, okay. This is a CT image, and in the lower hand side, left-hand side, short axis multi-detector CT image obtained in the diastolic clearly demonstrate this asymmetric septal wall hypertrophy, which was measured at 32 millimeters at the anteroseptal walls. Area of increased right ventricular wall thickness are most commonly seen near the junction of the insertion of the right wall, where you can see it here, into either the anterior or posterior septum. Elongated mitral valve leaflets can also contribute substantially to the mechanism responsible for subaortic gradient, particularly in those HCM patients in whom the mitral leaflet length exceeds twofold the transverse dimension of the outflow frac at the end systole. And here you can see that using CT, you can also measure the elongated leaflet, mitral leaflet here, and you can also detect the obstruction. We can also differentiate subtype of cardiomyopathy, hypertrophy. This is a mid-ventricular HCM in a 56-year-old man with dyspnea. 4-chamber transthoracic echocardiogram and multi-detector CT image shows the LV hypertrophy predominantly in the middle third of the LV wall, which is assumed to be a dumbbell configuration. However, with echocardiography, the apex is not always clearly seen because of the limited acoustic windows. And as the previous speaker said, one can also detect apical aneurysms caused by increased systolic pressure in the apex from mid-ventricular obstruction. MR imaging and MDCT well demonstrate this characteristic Doppel configuration. This is a case in a burnout phase patient where you can see that there was an evolution of this cardiomyopathy with here left ventricular wall enhancement and thrombus formation that was detected in this cardiac MR view. The diagnostic criterion for apical HCM is an absolute apical wall thickness of more than 50 millimeters or ratio of apical to basal LV wall thickness of 1.3 of 1.5. With MR imaging and MDCT, the characteristic pedal-like configuration of LV cavity at end diastole, a configuration that is caused by localized apical hypertrophy, is very well seen on a vertical length axis view. Cardiac MR and MDCT are strongly recommended and are the optical imaging modality for evaluation of this apical HCM. LV mass is normal in a substantial portion of HCM patients with limited focal hypertrophy, such as in this case. Here you have the ultrasound. Here you have two focal spots of hypertrophy, one here and one here, that you can clearly detect on this MDCT view short axis, and you can also see on this MR view. Screening of family members of patients with HCM is important because of first-degree relative of such patient having a 50% chance of being a gene carrier. However, disease expression can be heterogeneous and varied within the same mutations. And follow-up screening may need to be considered every 2 to 5 years, particularly in lung patients. LV crypt, which is defined as a blind pit or V-shaped fissure extending into but confined to the myocardium, was described, and this is a case where you can see it clearly in this patient. This crypt closed almost complete during systoles. What about risk stratification? Risk stratification relies on morphological and functional criteria listed on this slide, as you all know. This relationship of extreme hypertrophy to sudden cardiac death is accentuated in younger patients. It reflects either preferential sudden cardiac death at young age, structural remodeling with a wall thinning, or both. With echocardiography, the magnitude of hypertrophy tends to be underestimated in comparison with MR imaging for the assessment of massive LV hypertrophy over 30 millimeters. What are the significance and clinical implications of enhancement? The presence of fibrosis and scarring on HCM can be evaluated with delay-enhanced MR imaging, which is performed 10 minutes after starting the IV injection of gadolinium contrast-based. Segment inversion recovery sequence is used. The extent of fibrosis has been associated with clinical marker of sudden cardiac death risk and progression of heart failure. Patchy middle wall enhancement with mythical foci is the most common form of HCM. It's seen in this short axis view. This observation has to be distinguished with enhancement for MI. Delay enhancement MR imaging, here is showed in this three-chamber view, is frequently seen in many as 80% of the patient, and on average 10% of the overall LV myocardium volume demonstrate hyperenhancement. It is not possible at this time to determine if a threshold amount of left gadolinium enhancement exists which identified HCM patients as future risk of progressive remodeling. This is a study that was performed on 220 patients followed over 5 years. This study shows that patients with gadolinium enhancement have poorer prognosis compared to negative patients. However, whether extreme myocardial scarring is an independent predictor of an adverse prognosis or add incremental prognosis information to the magnitude of left ventricular hypertrophy will demand further study. There was 4 prospective short-term outcome studies with relatively short number of HCM patients that has been published and that have demonstrated conflicting results regarding the relationship between gadolinium enhancement, sudden death, and appropriate therapy for ventricular or tachycardia fibrillation. This is a patient where you can see this gadolinium enhancement patchy in the inferior wall, the lateral wall, and the anterior wall of the myocardium. What about myocardial ischemia? Myocardial ischemia and reduced myocardial blood flow have been demonstrated in patients with HCM, with PET or with thallium perfusion imaging. One can do exactly the same thing using a cardiac MR, stress cardiac MR, where you can see that this hypo signal corresponding to hypoperfused area in this patient. Cardiac MDCT can provide useful information for non-invasive assessment of coexistent epicardial coronary disease in patients with HCM. This is an example of normal coronary artery with a myocardial bridge, which is very frequent in patients with HCM. Advanced MR technology, such as tagging, may be useful in assessing precise wall motion and strain abnormality. This is developed by Pierre Croisy, one radiologist in our group, where you can see that you can define strain and precise abnormal motion of the wall using this technique. This is another technique that you can also use in MR. It's a variant of tagging where you can also precisely show wall motion. And this is another example where you can see the abnormal wall motion in different view. You see you could put the line either in the apical view or in this coronal view where you can actually really precisely describe wall motion abnormality. This is an example also where you can see how precise you can describe the wall motion abnormality, where you can see here the square are not moving in this left ventricular hypertrophy, where in the lateral wall there is strong deformation, and you can quantify this and having information of circumferential strain. So this tag image shows total lack of motion and grid deformation within the thickness, the septum. And here you can see that there is diastolic strain reduced in all territory. What about additional consideration? Alcohol septal ablation, where you can see here before and after alcohol septal ablation, you can see the enhancement and the wall thinning, the enhancement corresponding to the necrosis, the therapeutic infarction induced by septal alcoholization, and the wall thinning of the septum. What about differential diagnosis? Cardiac MR play a clear role. This is an example NCT. This is an example of MDCT, where you can see this striking appearance of non-compaction, which is very clearly defined using MDCT. And one can also use cardiac MR to detect Fabry disease with patchy enhancement in the lateral wall, or here in this patient, cardiac amyloidosis, where you can see this typical enhancement of all the subendocardial wall in the left ventricle, but also in the right ventricle, as you can see here in this short axis view. So to conclude, cardiac MR imaging, or MDCT, should be considered as reference standard for establishing diagnosis of HCM when the results of echocardiography are inconclusive or as suspected of being false negative finding. Cardiac MR imaging is a powerful imaging modality for differentiating HCM for other cardiomyopathy and risk stratification in selected patients. Cardiac MDCT is less useful for assessing HCM currently because MDCT involves radiation exposure and contrast median-related problems and provide less information than MR imaging, i.e. hemodynamic information and tissue characterization such as fibrosis. However, cardiac MDCT would be more appropriate when specific anatomical details are requested, exclude coronary artery disease non-invasively, and in patients with contraindication for MR imaging such as pacemaker. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this marvelous lecture. We have time perhaps for one question. We are a little over time. Can I ask you, in my view, for me, the most important issue about MRI, we all agree about the wonderful images we get, the gadolinium addition, and so on. But is this useful in your view today to risk stratify patients in terms of prognosis? I mean, to help us to decide in which patient to put in an ICD or not?
Which patient we should put in MR
yes.
or MDCT,
yes.
you mean?
If there are data. There are data, as far as I know, which showed correlation between the number of risk factors. More risk factors you have, more gadolinium rate enhancement you have.
Yes.
But this is still not the proof
Yes.
that more gadolinium latent enhancement you have, there is more sudden death. Do we have data today
No,
to
not
show
yet.
that?
As I said in my talk, there are conflicting results. It's not really clear about this. I think there should be more extensive work regarding this. And there are also new technologies such as T1 mapping and T2 mapping that may help to understand the pathogenesis of fibrosis, because gadolinium enhancement is one thing, but the fibrosis inside the myocardium is more diffuse and should be quantitatively assessed using this new technology.
So we don't have this data, very important.
I never saw any outcome patients with a MitraClip. Apparently you did it. You have a lot of patients like that?
With what?
A MitraClip.
But not many, no, not many.
It works?
Yeah, a little bit, but we have to do more.
Thank you really very much, and it is a great pleasure and honor for me. Please remain. Please remain. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to provide you also with the plaque of the Israel Heart Society, and we thank you really for your participation.